Now see, in your assignment, in your CC also, I have asked you one question regarding the channel mix decision. Okay, so it means that what are the channel options available for that specific good or for that specific service industry. So what are the type of channel options available? It may be like wholesaling, it may be retailing, it may be franchising, direct marketing. Okay, so there are different channel options available, or maybe through the online platform or click and brick model. So there are many options available for the marketers. Now, out of these available options, the marketer has to choose the best mix of it. Now, here it depends upon the category of the goods, the target market, the segment to whom you are catering, the reach to the customers, the expectation of the customers, the pricing of the product. So when I say it's the category of the product, it means the whether it's a durable product, whether it is a perishable product, whether it's a industrial good. So here, depending upon these different variables, these channel options will differ from one channel option to the other channel option. So it wholly depends upon the company, how does it want to operate in the market, which type of channel option it needs to select here. So if we see the first one, it's the wholesaling. We are all aware of this wholesaling. Okay. So here, wholesaling, it includes all the activities involved in selling goods to those who buy for resale or business use. That is, these wholesalers, they don't sell directly to the customers, but they sell to retailers, to the intermediary in between the customer and the company. So here, though the customers here are the business buyers, they are business buyers in the sense that is those retailers who purchase from the wholesalers and sell it to the end customers. So basically here, when we consider the customers, they are the retailers. That is one thing. Second thing is the transactions are larger in quantity and cover a larger trade. That is, they include the purchase in the bulk quantity for these wholesalers. Here, as far as the attributes like promotion or atmosphere or location, they are not given that much weightage as compared to the retailing in this wholesaling. Now let's have a look at the functions of a wholesaler. What does the wholesaler, what functions does he perform? Now if we consider the first function, it's of selling and promotion. Now these wholesalers, on the behalf of the company, they sell the goods to the retailers. So many a times these wholesalers, they also have their own sales force that helps the manufacturers reach many small business buyers at relatively low cost. Because see, they are catering to that particular area or location. They are well versed with that location. So it becomes easier for this wholesalers to act as an agent or a catalyst in between the manufacturers and the retailers. So these wholesalers take the onus of selling and promotion on the behalf of the company. Now here, when we say that they are the business buyers, they purchase the goods in large quantity, in a huge quantity, buying an assortment building. Assortment building, that is, they make the assortments. Different goods are assorted according to the requirement of the retailers. So this is one important function carried out by these wholesalers. It is also known as the bulk breaking. That is, they purchase in the bulk and it is broken down into different small lots of purchases to sell further to the retailers. Warehousing. Now here, as just now I said that location or the ambience and all does not play much importance in wholesalers market. Here, the warehousing is one of the important function carried out. Warehousing needs holding of large inventories of goods. Now here, irrespective of brands or is irrespective of how many product lines a particular wholesaler carries. Okay. Here in these warehouses, the goods are stacked and the onus lies on the wholesaler to protect the goods, to take care of the goods and sell them to the retailers. The next part is transportation. Now, the role of the wholesalers is to check about the transportation. They need to transport the goods to the retailers at their place safely. That is one of the important function. In terms of financing, they support the customers by grounding credit and finance supplies by ordering early and paying bills on time. So in this way, they also help in financing the companies also. They give the credits to the retailers and in return take the credit facility from the company also. They are risk bearers on the behalf of the company. Since they own these goods, they are the ownership. They own the owners of these goods. That's why they bear the risk as far as the issue of theft is considered, the spoilage or the damage of goods is considered. And hence we say that risk bearing is one of the important function carried out by the wholesaler. The next is market information. Now these wholesalers, they get the information about the market, about the company, about the competitors, the product, their performance through the retailers. The retailers are in contact with the customers. These retailers give the feedback to the wholesalers who in turn give the feedback to the company about maybe the performance of the goods, the feedback what the customer has given about the product after using the product. Uh, what are the competitors' new products launched in the market? What is the margin passed on by the competitors? So all this information is passed on by these wholesalers to the company. So they act as a center for market information here. Now, apart from this, these are the major functions. Now, apart from this, these wholesalers, they are responsible for a particular territory in which they operate. So any issues regarding the product and reaching it to the retailers is taken care by that particular wholesaler. The trade margins or passing on the margins to the retailers is decided by the wholesalers. It depends totally on a wholesaler. It is one of the function of the wholesaler. The wholesaler checks the regular, adequate and prompt supply of goods to the retailers. Similarly, if the retailer needs the POP material, some advertising or promotional support, it is the wholesaler who provides on the behalf of the company to the retailer. Similarly, administrating the dealers or if they require any service part, it is taken care by the wholesaler. These wholesalers, many a times, they do have their own salesperson. They visit the retailers frequently to keep a check on the retailers and the functioning of the goods. They also are responsible for securing the shelf space as far as the retailers market is considered. So here it's very important task of the wholesalers to control the retailers. Ultimately, the company tries to push the wholesaler and the wholesaler in return tries to push the retailer. That is the chain here. Now coming on to the next part is the types of the wholesalers. What are the types of the wholesalers? Now here one can think of having a merchant wholesaler. Now here uh, merchant wholesaler may be in terms of customer goods or he may be in terms of industrial goods. These merchant wholesalers, they are independent business enterprises. They own the title to the goods. So we say that these are the large wholesalers who buy in bulk quantity. They are responsible for their own entity of businesses. Now here it may have the full-fledged wholesaling or it may have a restricted or limited wholesaling. Now when I say it's a limited or a controlled wholesaling, it means many of the wholesalers, they work on the cash and carry basis. They carry a limited line of goods, limited line of products. Specifically, if you see maybe in FMCG category or maybe into the pharmaceutical industry, they just are responsible to carry a limited line of the maybe medical equipments or the pharmaceuticals drugs which are specialized in particular area. So they don't stock much of the goods here. When we say limited service wholesalers, they do not stock, but instead they just operate the businesses on cash and carry basis. There no credit is given to them. Okay. Once they give the cash, they just purchase it from the original equipment manufacturers. They take it and sell it to the end customer. There are also the truck wholesalers, that is who sell as well as deliver the goods simultaneously to the end customers. Usually they cover the small groceries or supermarkets here. Similarly, those who are the drop shippers, they receive the orders from the buyers and then find the producers. They usually have the tie-ups with the producers. As soon as they receive the order, they place the order with the manufacturers or the producers and ship the required goods to the customers. Specifically, if we see in industrial purchasing or organizational buying, these drop shippers, they are more prominent, like heavy equipment manufacturers, coal manufacturers, steel manufacturers. There, this thing is more prominent. There are also producers cooperatives. which work on this mechanism. Many of the farm products, they operate in the farm related products, where the in a cooperative sector the profits are equally divided among all the members. So this is about the merchant wholesaler. Now if we have a look at the brokers or agents, here basically these brokers or agents, they bring both the parties together, the buyer and the seller. Many a times they help in negotiation process also. When they bring together, okay, they earn the commissions. If we take into consideration the insurance sector, the real estate, the security brokers, there you will find most of them, they work as the brokers or the agents. They receive certain amount of commission for selling the goods or just bringing in the common platform of both the parties. The next obviously is the manufacturer and retailers, branches or offices. Now, many a times, if we see the banking industries, they have their own retail branches. Insurance industry, privatization, since privatization has come up, if we see that there are different branch offices. So here they are spread. They are penetrated through the offices or branches. We can take an example of automotive spare parts or equipment spare parts. Even that falls into this category. So these is what are the types of wholesalers. Now coming to the next part of the channel options is the retailing. Just now we saw about the wholesaling. Then further, next is the retailing in the channel options. Now, retailing is defined as a set of activities or steps used to sell a product or a service to consumers for their personal or family use. So here a retailer comes in direct contact with the end customer or a consumer. This retailer is the last link in the distribution channel. Retailer links the distributor or the dealer to the end customer. He brings both of them together. Retailer works closely with the customers. Since he comes in day-to-day direct contact of the customers, he is aware about the customer, their preferences, their habits. And many a times this retailer can influence the customer's choice also. If you have observed that maybe near your house, if you have a grocery shop or a retail outlet, if you visit, maybe if some new product has come in the market, the retailer, he will try to influence your choice by just asking you to at least try the product. Okay, and since you believe him, you are ready to at least opt for a trial usage of that particular offering. So it becomes very easy through the retailer to penetrate the product, to penetrate into the market. This retailer, since he is in close contact with the customers, he gives the direct feedback to the company. That is one of the important characteristic feature of this retailer. He understands the customer and he gives the feedback to the company through the wholesaler. Now, though these retailers, they buy in large quantities, but they sell in individual units. That is one of the important feature. As compared to the wholesalers, the retailers are large in number. They are spread across geographically. That's why we say they are large in number as compared to the wholesalers. Now, this retailing can be organized or unorganized. So, when I say it's unorganized, that means a nearby grocery shop. Okay, maybe unorganized retail. And against this, the organized retail, you can take exclusive shops or retail outlets like a supermarket or a store like Big Bazaar. They are all organized stores. Even today, because of the internet revolution, retailing has gained impetus through the online stores also. Retailing is one of the fastest growing industry in India. It's most dynamic and fast paced industries. It accounts for over 10% of country's gross domestic product and around 8% of employment. Retailing has boomed up since the FDI is allowed in this sector. Now, many reforms were brought in into this retailing by the government to give impetus for this sector, retailing sector. Government is taking initiatives to improve the retail industry in India. Uh, Previously, we just had a big bazaar, but today, if you see, we have the Walmart which has entered in India. Many of those retailers they have tied up with the online platform businesses, which has become a easy road to penetrate into the market. Now, what are the reasons why retailing has penetrated into India? Now, few of the factors are like, you know, due to economic upliftment of the society. Now, economic upliftment means due to increase in the employment, since the service sector has boomed up in India, which has given rise to more of the employment generation. That is one reason. Second reason is women force entering uh, into the sector. Today, more of the women they are independent, which has given them the extra mileage or the shop for the shopping grounds. Similarly, the families today have more of the disposable income as compared to the maybe 10 or 20 years back. Today, if we see people are more spending on the lifestyle, on the health concepts. Previously, they did not used to spend so much. Today, broader choice is available for the customers. Due to this retailing, under one roof, a variety of products are available of different choices, different brands, different pricing, quality, content, everything they can compare. Once the customer enters a retail outlet, he has a bundle of choices to choose. So here, that's why this retail industry has boomed up. People also enjoy the ambience as far as the retailing is now in wholesaling. I spoke that the ambience or the location it does not have a major role. It does not has a major role there, but in retailing it plays a very important role. Many of them they visit the shopping malls just to seek the uh, entertainment or just have a feel of shopping mode. Many of the people, they just go for the window shopping in the retail outlets. Now, this retail outlets also has certain entertainment also. More the ambience, more the convenience given to the customer, more it attracts the customers. Now, if we take into consideration the functions of the retailers, they map with those of the wholesalers. The retailers, they do promote the products. They sell the products to the customers. They promote the product to the customers. They also play a role of a financer, a risk bearer. Now here, the strategic issues which relate to this retailing include the location decision, the target market selection, which is important thing here. Then which type of business model does it adapt? The merchandise mix chosen by the retailer, the positioning of the retail store outlet. Now here, if you take into consideration the location decision, as far as the retail enterprise is considered, because of more of the competition and the consumers today, they have options. That's why this feature has gained more importance, the location. Now, this location analysis should consider the demographic and psychographic profile of the customers, the target market in that particular area, who are the competitors, where it is positioned, the business climate area. These factors should be taken into consideration, the accessibility, the strategic advantage of the location. If not, then maybe the retail outlet should gain a strategic position in the minds of the customer, that the people are ready to drive even though the distance is very far. Okay. There is something special in the retail outlet that the people come and they visit the store. Similarly, which type of target market the retailer would be selecting, whether it would be economy minded consumers, like if we have a grocery store or a place where you have all of the goods under one roof, like Big Bazaar, or you may have a high priced socio-economic category like Shopper Stop. So here it depends upon the target market selection by a particular retailer. What exactly they are looking for, which type of customers they want to cater to. Similarly, it should take into consideration the merchandise mix, exactly what type of uh, business model the retailer would take into consideration. Now, a business firm may think of having a goal of high profit margins and low inventory turnover, or low profits but high inventory turnover. Now, if a company thinks of having high profit margins and low inventory turnover, then it comes with the bundle of personalized services. But if we take into consideration the second option, then it has few services. So it depends entirely upon the retailer, what exactly the retailer is choosing. Similarly, what merchandise mix they are planning to have, whether it would be simply a grocery store, or it will have a length and breadth of all of the merchandise, Maybe they may have the garments, they may have the shoes, they may have the electronic goods, they may have the grocery, everything under a single roof. That is, they may have different shelves, different floors allocated, or it may be a specific outlet for a single category of product. Like you have a sports store, only sports related, you will get the products there. So it depends entirely on the retailer into which type it will fit. The next is a type of retailers. So here retailers are also categorized based upon the stores, different type of stores like the specialty stores. Now, if we consider the specialty stores, which carries a very narrow product line, they don't have a very broad product line, but they carry a narrow product line with a deep assortment of products within that line. Like we can have the jewelry stores, we can have the watch stores, the garment or the apparel stores, where you have a single line store, or maybe a Raymond showroom, where you have a limited line store. So this is called as a specialty stores, where the customer enters with the specific intention to purchase that particular product. So this is a specialty store. When the customer enters that store, the customer is aware what he wants to purchase here. The next is the department store or departmental stores, which carries several product lines. Typically, we require on day-to-day basis or typical household requirements, which includes food, clothing, appliances, household goods, home furnishing, gifts, etc. So here, since it carries more product lines, they have to be managed independently. Here, you require more people to be taken care of different departments. Now here, in case of departmental stores, its breadth and length depends upon the owner of the departmental store. The more the bundle of products offered to the customers, more this departmental store can attract the customers. This is the departmental store. The next is a supermarket. This is a large, low cost, low margin, and high volume self service operation designed store to serve the customer's needs or wants with reference to maybe household maintenance products, the food, the laundry aspects, etc. Now, here the customers come with certain intention of purchasing the convenience goods or the day to day usage products in this. The next are the convenience stores. The convenience stores, they are more penetrated geographically as compared to specialty stores, departmental stores, or supermarkets. Maybe you may have the convenience stores, the outlets near to your residence. These stores serve a very useful purpose due to their personalized service and home delivery, maybe due to acquaintance. These stores are very handy for the customers to drop in at any time and just seek whatever are the requirements. They are usually open for long hours. So these are convenience stores. The discount stores. Now discount stores are the one that sell standard merchandise at lower prices than the conventional merchants or stores by accepting the lower margins. Here the objective is to push the sales volume rather than on margins. Now here it regularly sells the offerings at a discounted price. It may be a form of a single product line or may include more than one product line. Maybe you can have the medicinal stores here as a discount stores, or a discount store like Walmart, even Big Bazaar. Many of them, they are following this trend since promotion is one of the inseparable part of the retail outlets today because of the increasing competition. So there are also discount stores. Now here I spoke about the functions. Now apart from the having the functions like storing the goods or protecting the goods, financing, risk bearing, apart from this, these retailers, they push the products to the customers. They play a very important role as a promoter on the behalf of the company. They play a role of a personal salesmanship here. Maybe through the window displays or through demonstration of the product, they try to influence the customer's decision of purchase. They act as a agent or a link between the wholesaler and the consumer. Here, a retailer is the one who tries to convert a consumer into a customer, basically. Many of the retailers, they also provide credits to the customers. Now here it depends upon the category of the goods. Now having the recreational facilities and the entertainment depends entirely upon a particular retailer, how they attract the customers and retain the customer loyalty. They may have certain promotional programs run by the retail outlets. Like they may have the family cards, they may have the loyalty cards, they may have the discount coupons for the frequent purchasers or loyal customers. It depends entirely upon the retailer how they are going to push the product in the market. Coming to the next mode is franchising. Now, franchising is one of the rapidly growing industries in India. A franchisee is a business arrangement wherein the owner, that is the franchisor of a business, permits the other, that is the franchisee, the license right to own and operate business based on the former's business concepts using its trademark. Usually we say it's a contractual agreement in between both these parties. A franchisee is given the right to use the franchisor's offerings, products, their symbol, their merchandise, their role or expertise in the defined territory. And in return, they charge the royalties, maybe up to 1% for domestic sales and 2% upon export sales for use of their brand name or trademark. There may be also technical collaboration in between the two parties. It is also a type of franchising. So through this franchising, if we see many of the businesses, they are run based upon this model. Now here, both the parties, the franchisor as well as the franchisee, both of them are benefited by this mode. If we see from the franchisor's point of view, they cover the more territories. That is, it is helpful to penetrate geographically. Now here, these franchisors, they get the marketing support from the entrepreneurs. It helps in expanding their market share. Once set up, it enjoys royalty without any additional efforts. These franchisors, they have the familiarity of the local market, which helps the franchisor. This venture also becomes cost effective for both the parties. Comparatively, this model is more easier to influence, manage, and control each franchisee here. Since it's a contract or a agreement is there in between both the parties, since there is written documentation, so the control can be kept upon the franchisees. Now, for the franchisees part, it's all a centralized planning. They have their own audit and record keeping. They get all the merchandising, promotional POP materials, everything from the franchisers. So it becomes easy for them to enter into the market with the established brand. There is no need for them to take efforts. They can quickly encash the opportunities as far as the logo, the trademark, the brand name is considered. So it's less risky for the startups or for the new businesses specifically. It solves their startup problems here. So in this way, it's helpful for both the parties. Now today, if we see the entertainment industry, the food and beverages, education, apparel industry, courier services, we will find this franchisee model, fitness and nutrition, beauty and healthcare, stationery and gift shops. If we see, it's a franchising model which is used by the companies. The next part is direct marketing. Now, what is direct marketing? Now, this direct marketing, it involves the business attempting to locate, contact, offer, and make incentive-based information available to the customers. Here, it's one of the interactive mode of marketing where the marketer thinks of reaching to the direct target. Now, in case of conventional marketing, it's more of the mass marketing type, while direct marketing is demassified. That is, it deals with the customers on one-to-one basis. That is personalized, more of the personalized in nature. In direct marketing, it's a zero channel. Directly, the manufacturer contacts the customer here. So there is direct involvement with the customer. It gives individual attention to the customers. It enables customization. It helps to achieve excellence in products or services because you come to know the requirement of that particular customer here. It also helps in facilitating the segmentation and targeting part because dealing with one-to-one customers, you come to know about the requirement of the customers and you try to offer the product or service to the customer with reference to their need. So we say it's measurable here as compared to mass marketing. Now, this may take a form of direct mail. So one can think of having a catalog marketing here. Full line merchandise catalogs are given to the specialized customers, like we have for Avion Cosmetics or Oriflame Cosmetics or Ica Furnitures. They used to have this, but now they have again adapted to the traditional means. Ica Furnitures. They used to manage the top list of customers, carefully avoiding the duplication. Sending direct mail to the customers, like having new offers or announcement, reminders to the customers, mailing them. Now, this permits target market selectivity. One can think of having a personalized feel to it. It's more flexible and allows early testing and response measurement also. Now, if we see the diamond markets in Surat, okay, they go for this type of direct mailing to the top class customers. They, when they come up with a new type of diamond or some new jewelry or something, they just mail it to their elite customers. They send it to them and then customize the jewelry and sell it to them. Uh, if you see SMS text, because of mobile marketing, this thing has become more prominent. You get the SMS with reference to the product, with reference to the feedback, the satisfaction, even in service industry. Telemarketing is another one, direct form, where directly you get a call from the, maybe the call center or maybe from the store, to give the information regarding maybe the new offers, new products launch, the interest of the customers, etc. Here it becomes much more cost effective from the manufacturers or the company's point of view. Social media is one of the important thing now. Days wherein the companies take into consideration contacting the customers through social media. Now, apart from this, if we see, we also have the multi-level marketing here, which is the modified, a bit modified version of the direct selling. That is a network marketing. Like we had the company of Modi Care products. We have Amway, which is based on that model, where you have certain forms of point value for adding a new customer in the chain. So these are some of the forms of direct marketing also. Now, these are about the available options. Now, suppose if we think of the wholesalers, okay, the traditional means groceries, the toiletries, the groceries, or the medicines, all this come into this wholesaling type, where you have the FMCG category basically, or in case of certain industrial products also. Even for medicinal equipments or pharmaceutical industry, we do have the dealers. Instead of retailers, we do have the dealers. Retailing specifically, if you see, it may take any of this form of specialty stores or the departmental stores. It depends upon the product. Like you may have a specialty store of a branded apparels. You may have a specialty stores with reference to shoes. You may have it with reference to watches. You may have with reference to sports stores. So here it depends upon the category of the product. As the category of the product changes, these different channel options, they vary. If the product is perishable, okay, though the chain may be lengthy, but here the time frame is defined. If you have, for example, milk and milk products or the vegetables, For instance, you will find a small chain or maybe a chain with the limit on the time span for the perishable goods. So here it depends upon the category of the goods or the products sold to the in the market. Now, any doubts as far as this part is considered?
No, ma'am. No doubt.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. No doubt.
No doubts.
Yeah,
Understood.
we understood.
Okay, okay. Today I will stop here. Maybe we will continue in the next session.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.